All right, it is the rundown. Today is May 15th. We're brought to you by High Noon. If you are a tequila lover who is never satisfied with malt hard seltzer offerings, you are going to love the new High Noon tequila seltzer. It's delicious. I can say from personal experience, best thing to drink on the weekend is a High Noon hard seltzer. Excuse my voice there. It's made with real tequila and real juice. Clean finish because it's made with real Blanco tequila. It's only 100 calories, gluten-free, and no added sugar. Look for them at Drizzly / at your local convenience or liquor store, or visit highnoonspirits.com to find it near you. Gentlemen, we're joined today, Max, Smitty. Is this your first rundown experience?
First time sitting in the chair, correct.
First time sitting in the chair for Max. You look great. Smitty, you look great too.
Thanks, Henry.
Our first topic, conveniently enough, is the NBA playoffs. Last night, Game 7 in Boston. Boston defeated the Philadelphia 76ers, who are up 3-2 in the series. Smitty, I'll start with you.
I'm probably the worst person to start with because I knew it was going to happen. I said it after the Hawks series when they blew it 2 years ago. Doc Rivers shouldn't be the head coach. There needs to be fundamental changes made to this team from the top to the bottom. I do not trust them at all. Specifically this year, I said in Game 1, I will not give this team the benefit of the doubt until they earn it. And by earning it, meaning get past the Eastern Conference settings. I just wouldn't. And it didn't happen. And I thought about it. I thought about coming around in Game 6 when they were up. It didn't happen, and you just knew what was going to go down yesterday. You just knew it. And it literally is what it is. Thank you.
Maxwell, your opening statement.
I have had a little bit of a different look at it than Smitty. I really like to, be optimistic towards my teams. I saw James Harden's Game 1. I was like, all right, we have a go-to guy. Like Embiid wasn't even on the floor, and we got a guy who can hit a step-back game winner, and then he did it again. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this team can be different. Tyrese Maxey started to show up. And I was like, another year of experience from him. Now we really got three stars in my mind that can get it done in the playoffs. And then it was the same old thing every single Game 7. And it just makes you reconsider everything you think about the team.
The team's over. It's the process is officially over. You know what happened?
But it was all in one game. Like if they win that game, then it's like
Then it's all in.
Then it's all in.
It's all in again.
It went from like there was no in between. It was like 100%. This team is different. We're going to the finals. We could win this thing. To
It's over.
It's over. And it's crazy. One game can do that, but one game really, really did.
I don't know if you know this, but 11 years ago, do you know what happened in the NBA playoffs with the Sixers?
No, do tell.
So they had J. Rue Holiday and Andre Iguodala.
J. Rue?
J. Rue Holiday and Andre Iguodala take the Celtics to Game 7 in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And they couldn't get past them.
Who won?
You know exactly.
The Uncut Gems game.
And that's when the process started because they weren't good enough to make that leap. And the past 11 years, we're in the same exact fucking spot.
Let's jump into some stats. Credit to Jason Tatum. He was drafted 3rd in the NBA draft. I forget who had the first pick that year. But let's jump into some stats. Smitty, doom and gloom, thought they were going to lose the whole time. But they were only down 3 going into halftime. They were fighting in the first half. It seemed pretty competitive. Where was your head at halftime? Were you just like, from the whole game, they're going to lose, they're going to lose, they're going to lose?
No. I thought they had a chance in Game 7. I thought Game 6 was their Game 7. They had to win Game 6 to even have a chance. Game 7 was with it. Like, P.J. Tucker came out firing, and Embiid ended up with, 13 in the first half. They could have played better. The Celtics weren't playing good, aside from Tatum. But you think, hey, maybe the fucking guy who scored 25 points in the first half will be guarded a little better. There'll be some adjustments going on. You'll come out with a fire in your dick and maybe, just maybe, score more than 10 points in the third quarter. But nope, they get outscored 33-10 in the third quarter, which is factually the worst quarter lopside in NBA Game 7 history. And what more can you say? Yeah, you have a chance at halftime. You're down 3, especially when you come out. Tobias Harris hits a 3. You tie the game up. It was 55-55 with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter, and they lost by 30. Like, excuse me?
Yeah, some more stats here. Jason Tatum, 51 points, most points ever scored in a Game 7 in the playoffs. That's a fun stat. Embiid and Harden combined went for 26. Harden, 3 of 11 shooting. D'Anthony Melton had one less shot than James Harden. I was sitting next to you guys. You were kind of yelling at that. That was what was kind of blowing my mind is that in the third quarter, the Celtics went on a run, 10, 12, 15-point run, and they cut to Doc, and this was Doc Rivers. He just looked like he was no motivation. There was no like coaching the boys up, like we can fight back from this. He just looked defeated.
Yeah, it's almost like he's the most overrated.
They weren't running through Harden or Embiid. They were running through D'Anthony Melton. It was stunning. Embiid after the game, which is crazy because everyone thought Giannis had one of the kind of weakest post-game press conferences after getting eliminated. Embiid after the game said, I can't, MVP, mind you, he won the most valuable player award. I can't win alone. Me and James can't win alone. That's why basketball is played 5-on-5.
Yeah, and that's a selective quote out of an entire paragraph. If you see the whole paragraph, it's still not great, but it's not as bad as what was edited together in that. And I feel...
Wait, that was an edited quote, or those words came out of his mouth?
Those words came out of his mouth, but it was kind of out of context. Also, English is his fourth language. Like, maybe he's not meaning exactly what he means. Still not great. But
I will say the press conference didn't bother me as much
as a performance.
Because of the language
as the performance, as the demeanor coming off the court really, really did not sit well.
5 years ago, he's crying off the court when Kawhi hits a game winner. And granted, it's a little different. That was more heartbreaking than it was yesterday when you knew the game was over in the third quarter. But you ham it up with Jason Tatum after, like...
All right, here's a fun exercise. The Sixers have been in 3 Game 7s in the past few years. I want you guys to rank in terms of worst and like least painful. So we got the Kawhi shot in Game 7. We got the Ben Simmons pass against the Hawks, and then last night. Max, we'll start with you.
In that order, even though.
So Kawhi was the worst?
Kawhi was the worst for sure because of the Jimmy Butler factor of that team.
Yeah.
He was the difference maker that has always been there for the Sixers, and I do think if they win that, if Kawhi doesn't hit that shot, Jimmy was playing so well, we go on to win in overtime, and then we're very big contenders for the title that year.
Yeah, mine it's Hawks, Raptors, Celtics, because the Hawks signified for me an end of an era. At least with the Raptors, it's like, okay, they're improving each year. You should be able to get over the hump next year. The Hawks series sent them back the entire process.
When you knew Jimmy wasn't coming back, there was that
didn't
talk in the air though that like.
But you knew Brett Brown. But you knew Brett Brown wasn't going to be the head coach eventually.
But you
had hope after that.
But when you looked at the Hawks team, like it was bad. Like the Hawks loss was bad.
The Hawks loss was the Eagles losing NFC Championship in 2003. That Hawks game. Seriously.
But that Hawks team wasn't that good. That's where I can look back on it and be like, yeah, that
makes it worse.
No, I'm saying like the Sixers weren't that good that year. They were
the number 1 seed in the East.
I get it. But like when you look at the team that lost to the Raptors and you look at the team that lost to the Hawks, if you could pick those two teams,
now this is such revisionist history, and I know this is your fucking plan just to put us against each other. Such revisionist history. They went up against the Raptors and Jimmy Butler. Okay, after that series, Butler was feuding with Brett Brown, and he obviously could not be on the same court as Ben Simmons. We chose Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid over Jimmy Butler. That's just a fact.
Correct.
And it sucks that's the wrong choice, but that's just a fact. After the Hawks series, when you realize that Ben Simmons is a complete and utter disaster, that's what ended everything that we know as the process.
Yes.
Sorry.
I will, but like, going back and looking at it, even in that moment, like let's say somehow we win that Hawks game. Like, getting to Game 7 there, we were like, oh my God, this team is not that good. If we end up winning Game 7 against the Raptors, even in that moment, we're like, oh, this is a real team. Jimmy Butler is a real guy that we haven't had before. Nowhere in that Hawks series did you feel any sort of confidence that like this team is different.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I think if they would have won that Game 7, who ended up winning it all that year? The Bucks?
I think.
I think they could have taken anything anyway. Ben
the
Simmons,
Raptors
Ben
ended up
Simmons.
winning.
It's semantics. Both losses fucking suck,
yeah,
Hank.
Yeah.
All right, that leads me to another question, kind of in the same vein, because now you got the Celtics and the Heat going up against each other. Celtics just beat you. Jimmy Butler, former Sixer, part of those teams. Who do you root for going forward?
Heat. Not even close.
Not
even fucking close. And you should be worried. Jimmy Butler's going to kill a man on the
No,
court.
you shouldn't. The Heat stink.
I'm a little bit worried. We obviously went to Game 7 last year. The shot that he almost hit when they came back and almost completed the comeback was still resonates in my mind. So I'm not overlooking the Heat by any chance, although the odds in the Barstool Sportsbook are pretty favorable. I think the Celtics are like minus 500 or something.
Yeah, well,
to win the series.
one week ago to the day, the Sixers were NBA favorites to win the championship.
Damn. Well, you always have that. That's actually pretty crazy.
No, but you're talking about odds. Like, odds don't mean dick.
No, they don't mean dick. I'm not overlooking the Heat. I think it's going to be Celtics in.
I'm overlooking the Heat. I'm ready for. I need Lakers Celtics, and I need the Lakers to win because that's the only way that like I need your pain, and that's the only thing that will just make me look back on this playoffs and be like, okay, it wasn't all bad.
No, I think the Heat beating the Celtics would mean the same thing. And are you worried about only having one championship in your lifetime, but acting like you guys win every single year?
No, listen. I mean, you keep bringing that up. The championship, you guys know, I guess in football that 1 year, but winning a championship is one of the greatest feelings you can have as a fan. That 2008 run was one of the most enjoyable runs of my lifetime.
The Celtics legitimately
Jason
should have
Tatum,
5 championships.
That's
in the last
fine.
20
That's
years.
not wrong. Last year was tough. The Warriors team was good. Jason Tatum is 25. He's been to like 3 conference finals. He's been in the playoffs every year. He's only 25. The team is good. The team is excited. The Doc Rivers years, they probably should have won one more championship. Kendrick Perkins doesn't get hurt. They probably would have. But we're on to that. You keep talking about that. That's an old team. That's an old coach. None of those players play anymore. This current team, this current roster is great. They've been playing great. Jason Tatum is a great leader. He's only 25 years old. So I'm excited for the future. And I'm looking at a championship this year, and that's what we're going for. The Nuggets beat the Suns Game 6.
Good for fucking you.
The Suns fired Monty Williams, who went to a championship a couple years ago. One of the best young coaches in the league. It's got to be someone you guys are looking for.
What do you mean got to be somebody you're looking for? Monty Williams gets fired for underperforming 2 closeout games back-to-back years. Mike Bullholzer, or whatever the fuck his name is, gets fired after underwhelming this year after winning the championship 2 years ago. Nick Nurse gets fired after winning one 5 years ago and keeping the Raptors in relevancy in the East up until this year after losing Kawhi Leonard, one of the great talents of like all time. Why is Doc Rivers still the fucking coach of the Sixers when they can't get out of the second round 5 fucking years in a row? Explain that to me.
I just want to know. I get it. Doc Rivers is not a good coach, but it's the most passionate
he's a good
you are
coach.
about.
He's overrated.
He won a
He is
championship.
I get it.
overrated.
But like, what
did win a
does it like?
championship.
Do you really think a
Monty
new
Williams
coach
never won a
changes
championship.
everything with this team? It doesn't.
Now, no.
These
They
guys
lost it. They lost it after the Hawks series.
No matter what, like these guys are what they are. Like we've seen that. Like how many times do we need to like blame Doc Rivers for Joel Embiid just not showing up when we need him to show up?
He showed up in the Celtics series 2 years ago. He showed up against the Raptors. He was injured last year, which, I mean, injury concerns are a problem with him.
In Game 7s, he has not shown up, and that's fact.
He showed up Game 7 against the Raptors.
I'll check that.
We'll check that. We'll run some stats. We'll put them on the screen. Also, rundown viewers, you might be like, why is this guy wearing a soul patch? I guess that it might not make sense since you've never been on this show and maybe people don't know. Do you want to give a quick explanation in case people are like, what the fuck am I looking at? Does this guy even watch sports?
Hey, I think Chase Utley still has a soul patch, so respect it.
Hank and I made a bet of whoever wins this series gets a soul patch. That's basically what it is. Hank has a full beard. I have a soul patch. I look horrible. He looks normal, I guess. So, yeah.
All right. So I guess let's just give some finals predictions. Who do you think is going to come out of the East? Who do you think is going to come out of the West before we move on?
Lakers over Celtics.
Yeah. No, Lakers, Celtics.
I think it's going to be Celtics over Lakers. I'm hoping that the Nuggets-Lakers go 7 games. Hope the Celtics can beat the Heat quickly. Not rooting for injuries, but Anthony Davis, it's a long season. Be a real shame if he bangs his knee up a little bit. Moving on. More NBA news.
Rooting for injuries. class.
I just said it'd be a real shame. And it would be. It's a long season. As you guys know, Joel Embiid never stays healthy. John Morant flashed a gun on Instagram Live. His buddy was live on Instagram for like 100 viewers, playing the new NBA YoungBoy. Got Ja feeling some type of way. Flash another gun. What? Had him feeling some type of way. Flash a gun. Very quickly. The screenshot obviously lives forever. You can clearly see him holding a gun. If you watch the video, it was on the screen for less than a second. It was like half a second. His boy saw it, instantly tried to pull it away, didn't do it in time, got the screenshot out there. He's been suspended from team activities, which I don't even know what that means in the summer. I don't know what team activities happen at this point in the season if you're not in the playoffs. Maybe like a barbecue or something. He is facing a lengthy and significant suspension from the NBA. Him flashing the gun the first time got him suspended. Probably is the reason he didn't make an All-NBA team, which is the reason he's not going to get a Supermax contract, which is probably upwards of $40 million from the first time. Now he's facing another suspension. Thoughts? Your thoughts? Smitty.
Just a man exercising his Second Amendment right.
Right, but his Second Amendment right, but the team, he signed a contract for millions of dollars with the team. Part of that contract was like, hey.
Doesn't override the Constitution of the United States of America.
Right, but it does, affect his ability to get paid.
Die for your rights.
Okay. Max?
I just want to say, you already said it, but shout out his boy. His boy was the smartest guy in there. He was just trying to get some clicks on IG, and then as soon as he saw that Ja was doing something he should have done, he tried to rectify it as quickly as possible.
That is wild. I would like to see Ja's post live reaction to 100 viewers of the guy costing him $40 million.
Yeah. That wasn't his fault. That was only Ja's fault. He saw that the IG Live was on. He was rapping to the phone, and then for some reason he was like, wait a minute. This will go so much harder if I bring my gun out.
Unfortunately, if he's being that careless and haphazard with a firearm, like this story might end up.
I have a question for you. It looks like his stock is probably taking a dive. Tyrese Maxey, John Morant, straight up. Do you do the deal?
No.
I think so. I think no too.
No.
Which is crazy, but I think no.
No. Morant is obviously superstar level. I think. 2020 doesn't happen in a bubble, and they play March Madness. Tyrese Maxey's going 1-1 overall.
I don't know about that. But.
I absolutely think so. I think he's going number 1 overall. I think he dominates that tournament. I think he's drafted number 1. I don't think Tyrese maybe can't get to Ja's level, but I think he can get kind of close.
Do you think the Grizzlies would take that deal right now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think so too.
I do.
I think they would take that deal right now.
All right, moving on. NHL playoffs. The Vegas Knights beat the Oilers in Game 6. They're advancing to the Western Conference Finals. All I know about that series is Whitney was all in on the Oilers. They came up short again. McDavid, the game was at 10 o'clock for some reason.
It's so stupid. I agree with Nate so much. That is the stupidest thing ever for the NHL. Fuck it. Put it at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Any other time than 10 o'clock.
Best player in the league in a long time, and you got him playing at 10 o'clock on a Sunday when there's no other games going on. The NBA game ended at 7 o'clock. Perfect time for an 8 o'clock hockey game. Just didn't do it for some reason. That was stupid. Canada has lost a Stanley Cup for the 30th straight year. That's insane. What an embarrassment if you're Canadian. I don't even know how you can spin that. You're the hockey capital of the world. You can't win a cup. 30 straight years?
Yeah, that's bad.
Is this the worst conference finals ever?
I don't think it's the worst conference finals ever. I think it's good for hockey that Vegas is this good this quickly. They made the finals their expansion year, but I think that's good for hockey. I think the Kraken still too. They're were they in their second year or the first year?
Yeah, I think the NHL is going to take a book out of the NBA because, everyone was trying to spin those stats yesterday before the game, trying to say the game was rigged, but then the game played out and the Celtics won by 40, so that was the tough argument to make.
Scott Foster still didn't really, and your boy, what's his name?
Eric something.
Yeah, just the hardcore Celtics fan. They didn't a complete
listen,
game, but it didn't matter.
Your family can be a Celtics fan. Doesn't mean he is. I haven't seen him with a jersey on.
tank.
You don't want to. Yeah, no one wants to see their family be happy. That's just classic.
Who knows? I don't have family. I couldn't tell you.
It didn't matter.
But I
didn't
think the
matter.
NHL needs to do a better job. If you're looking at the conference finals, you got Boston, you got LA, Miami, Denver, and then you got Carolina, Florida, Vegas, and Dallas or Seattle. I think Seattle's at least something to watch. I think those games in Seattle are fun. Great sports town. I've always said that about Seattle. But if it's Vegas, Dallas, Carolina, Florida, that is a disaster. Ratings disaster, interest disaster. I'm not going to lie and sit here and tell you I'll be watching because I realistically probably won't be.
Whatever. Carolina, Florida, Tampa Bay, Dallas, they're like in the conference finals every fucking year in hockey. You don't want it there? Get rid of the city. Fuck Dallas.
So we talked about it earlier, but I'm going to look right now in the Barstool Sports book because I was checking and took them until today to put them in. Celtics are minus 500 to win the Eastern Conference. Heat plus 370. The Nuggets are minus 152, and the Lakers are plus 120. If I am a plus sign addict, I think the Lakers at plus 120 is pretty good value. But now the Barstool Sportsbook is offering a $1,000 bonus for new players. So if you're a new player and your first bet loses, you get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Download and create an account today. Use code RUNDOWN to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Be sure to use code RUNDOWN to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Terms apply. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So if you were to put in a Celtics-Lakers Conference Finals Championship parlay, that's plus 164. What do you guys think about that?
Best bet out there right now, plus sign, LeBron James, NBA Finals MVP, plus 850, I believe it is.
It is right now plus 600.
Oh,
Maybe
it's
Smitty's
okay.
moved the line.
I still like that.
Tatum's plus 160, Jokic plus 240, LeBron plus 600, Jaylen Brown plus 700, Jimmy Butler plus 1,400.
If the Lakers win it all and he's not dead, or even if he is dead, LeBron's getting that Finals MVP.
Yeah, Anthony
He'll probably
Davis,
get it better
though.
if it's more.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. I think if it's kind of like a Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins situation last year, like probably should have been Wiggins, but they gave it to Steph.
Exactly.
I think that's a
Especially
good call.
year
Right?
20, and it is still LeBron's team. We talked about that last night on PMT. It is. You saw it in Game 7. Like, it's still LeBron's team. It always will be LeBron's team if he's on the court. Like, at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, LeBron is going to be the one with the ball in his hands. Whether he's playmaking or shooting, he'll probably be playmaking, but he's the guy who's going to have the ball in his hands at the end of the game.
Couple other things before we get to the after show. We had Rough and Rowdy this past weekend. Big Cat had his third kid, Shizette the Rosette Cats. Shout out to Big Cat, father of 3 now. Jerry filled in Jersey Jerry Promotions. I wish he was here today to talk about it, but a lot of controversy around Jersey Jerry Promotions. He had his fighters. Oh, he is here. Let's get Jerry over here. I didn't see him over there. He had a pillar blocking him. I'm a little worried about. I mean, I guess it's good to be controversial promotion company, but
What do you think? I'm the Mean Girls? I come to the office?
I didn't. You had a pillar blocking you. I didn't see you. So let's hear from the man himself. From what I saw, Jerry, you had 2 fighters fighting each other. There was a little bit of dirty fighting going on. You kind of had to talk the refs off of it, and then after the fight, your fighter just refused to leave West Virginia, barricaded himself in the room. Police had to get involved. As the head of Jersey Jerry Promotions, how do you feel?
Listen, it's 2 street kids. What do you want me to do? Frank's upset about the loss. That's why he was in the hotel. So his checkout was 11. Rob was in the same hotel. They fought each other. Rob won via knockout. They're in the same hotel. Rob calls me at 12 like, hey, Frank's still in the hotel. We checked out. Our flight isn't until 8 o'clock tonight. I messaged Frank, no answer. Messaged Frank, no answer. Then Rob calls me at like 3:34 and is like, yo, the hotel is trying to push the door in. Something's blocking the door. So then I messaged Frank, like, what's going on? And asked him if he was upset over the loss. Says, yeah, look, Frank, like a Shakespeare, away with words. But so what happened was local authorities had to go and say, Frank, listen, you got to get out of the room. So, of course, I get charged for an extra day's stay, courtesy Jersey Jerry Promotions. They went on the same flight. Nothing happened. Update today, Frank wants a rematch. Because Frank's beef is this was a 3-round fight. This wasn't a 2-round fight. Frank wanted that extra round.
We got knocked out.
That's what I tried to explain to him. He doesn't understand that. So Both fighters are suspended indefinitely, but we're going to work on that.
So are you going to try and pick up new fighters? This is obviously your first
Yeah.
foray into the promotion game. Are you deterred from after all this
No,
controversy,
this
or are you just going to go all the way back
This
in?
makes me want it even more. I mean, that's what I did all day yesterday, all day today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a big post out there, Instagram, Twitter. Whoever wants to fight under me, I'll give them $1,000 if they win. If they lose, they get nothing. But I'll give the extra 1,000 to them if they win. But I got to pick the right fighters. You know, this was good because these are 2 street kids, straight off the street. So I think it worked out.
All right, thank you, Jerry. I guess if you want to stay on, I'm interested. You kind of brought the Stella Blue part of it into it all. After show, Stephen Shea, Jeff Nadeau, 2 peas in the pod were going at it yesterday. Nadeau said he put a big bet in on Celtics money line minus 240, which is just kind of ridiculous to put a big bet in on a minus that big. And then afterwards, Stephen was calling him out, calling him a fake fan, asking him to post a slip, which I agree is fair. If you're going to say you put a big bet in, you should have some backup, post a slip. Nadeau in the past has called people out for not posting the slip. He refuses to post the slip. I don't think the slip exists. I don't think he put the bet in. Stephen wrote a blog eviscerating him, talking about how he can't afford air conditioning, talking about how he lives in Amish country. Just a thorough takedown by Stephen Shea. And Nadeau didn't have a great response, honestly. No. And then this is where Jerry came in. He suggested they do a bet-off sponsored by Stella Blue Coffee, where I think developments have happened since then. Do you know where everything stands?
I don't know where it's at now, but I will tell you this. All things come back to Terry Mayrose, Terry Bosco. Was Terry right? Is Nadeau a pathological liar?
I think yes.
This is starting to show like he is. So all things always come back to Terry Mayrose, Terry Bosco.
I love when Pick Central, Jeff Nadeau called in and or just like Rico's like, I don't know if this should happen. Like I don't know, it's water on the bridge. Blah blah blah. It's like, Rico, you don't have to say anything. Like, you just being there, being like that says it all. He's like, yeah, you're right. I won't say anything. 3 seconds after he called, hey man, you got where's the slip? Like,
I mean, you got to show the slip.
You have to.
Nadeau is. That's
like-
where it's
like-
tough. It's a tough argument to make. Just show the slip. He either didn't bet it for a lot, like he said he did, or he just didn't bet it at all. Which I think it's probably worse if he didn't bet it at all. Just fucking show the slip to do. Like, it's pretty fucking easy.
It's pretty simple. I mean, you could have, Ev said it too. You could have just dunked on Steven really quick. Like, boom, here, I risked $1,000 or whatever, $500 on the Celtics money line.
Win like
boom.
100.
Ticket won. Yeah, whatever the case may be.
real losers here are the Amish, unfortunately. Stephen Chea's coming at you like that.
I also think it's tough for Philly and Philly fans. Like, do you guys claim Nadeau? That's a question.
No, whoa. Jeff Nadeau is a Yankees fan, okay?
He also said last night that he doesn't care about
and he doesn't
being
care
a
about
fan,
fandom.
which is fine.
He's about
Like
his
if-
money, he says.
Like if you don't care about being a fan, that's fine. Then you can make whatever bet you want, but don't say it's some emotional hedge or whatever because it's not. And also, you can't do the Jalen Hurts like draft reaction videos anymore if you're gonna say that you're not a fan.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that.
That's where my issue is too, because he was posting the video of him laughing like a maniac at Dave, I think after Game 1, which would imply that you're a fan of the Sixers and you're happy that they beat the Celtics. Like, you
play
can't do
both.
that, and then after they lose Game 7, be like, oh, I knew they were going to lose. I bet them fucking minus
Yeah,
240.
and I
Just
get-
bet them spread if you're going to bet them that big.
And I get emotionally hedging. Like
Yeah.
if you want to bet the
I
Celtics
don't.
because like to ease the pain if the Sixers lose, I get that. I'm not going to do it, but I understand that. You can't play both sides.
Yeah, that part of it
the
I
fence.
get. I don't
this.
get the not showing the slip part. Terry was right.
Yeah. All right. We'll have a bet off soon coming, hopefully brought to you by Stella Blue Coffee. That's the rundown. Thank you guys for joining. Great rundown. I had a blast.
Yeah, we'll
Max.
see. We'll see when the Sixers make the Eastern Conference Finals in 2068.
Yeah. Probably not. Probably never going to happen. You guys are like the Canada of the Eastern Conference.
No, it's been 30 years. First Bush administration. It's the last time they made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Damn.
20,
Shout out
22,
AI.
22 years.
Shit.